What is up, y'all? Welcome back. Today I want to talk to you about the 9mm Shield Plus, the basic version, 3-dot white sights, not night sights, nothing comped, nothing, just the basic version. I think it shares the trigger with all of its other brothers and sisters, but this is a very popular handgun right now. I do want to talk about it. Smith & Wesson upgraded from their Smith & Wesson M&P Shield 1.0 version to their 2.0 version, and now their 2.0 Plus, or whatever you want to call it, just Shield Plus. So they give you more capacity in the magazine. They changed the trigger. That's where my problem is right there, is with the trigger. There's other things about this gun that are quirky that I don't like. There's a couple things that I do like, but the trigger is a problem, and I want to talk about it today. There's ultimately going to be some people that say, I don't know what I'm talking about, or whatever they're going to say. God only knows. The comment section can get very creative. But today I'm going to show you two things I really don't like about this trigger, and borderline, I'm going to say it could be a safety issue in two totally different ways. So stick around, and like I said, some people are going to disagree, but real shooters are going to understand what I'm talking about. This is valid. This is a real point. All right, real quick, let's go back to the original Shield 1.0 with this scoop style trigger in it. At least that's what we could call it. It's a hinged style trigger, and that's what I personally got to really like about the Shield. It's got a good trigger, very much similar to the other M&P 1.0s of the time. Same textures, everything. If you like the full-size guns, these Shields usually were pretty good for you. Then they upgraded to the 2.0. They didn't change a whole lot on it. They changed the texturing and a couple things with the trigger upgrade, possibly. I mean, they did, but it's not a real big deal in my opinion. But then we went on to the Shield Plus. So here we are with the Shield Plus, and we have a good texture here, of course, also. But the biggest thing about this is we have the front blade, or the blade safety trigger here in the front, and then we have magazine. That's your biggest takeaways right there from the gun. More capacity, 9mm, yay, yay, yay. They also make it in 30 super carry. Whatever. Okay, you find those on sale all the time now. Trust me. But again, forget the extra capacity, forget anything else. Let's go to this trigger. With the upgraded trigger, we have some problems. I'm also going to compare it to the M&P metal 40 caliber we have, because that does have a straight blade safety. Well, not even a straight blade. It's pretty humped out there, but it's a different type of trigger. It's still one of Smith & Wesson's newer triggers as opposed to this older one. So I'm going to do a bunch of comparison here, but we have a problem with the trigger getting pinned in a certain situation where it might not be good to stage the trigger like we're used to doing on semi-autos. With semi-autos, we are very used to staging the trigger a little bit, getting past the slop, and then getting to a wall, and then pulling the trigger when necessary or if necessary. There is a way to bind this trigger up. I'm going to show you that. I'm doing it right now. And also, this trigger seems to have a very, let's say, light wall. So you have this take up, but once you get to the wall, you really don't have a lot after that to deal with. It's very easy to set the gun up, set the gun off. So again, when you're staging, if you're going to go ahead and get to a wall for any situation, and then you go just a little bit too far, the gun will go off. So not a good idea to stage a trigger on a potential target if you're just going to shoot it by accident. The whole point of staging is to be ready to shoot, not to maybe shoot. So let me show you both of these on camera. I'm not going to drag this video out too long, but I just want to show you these things in case you're thinking about getting this, or if you already have it, maybe you can check your guns safely to see if they do the same thing. I think Smith & Wesson, let's put it this way, people always want better and better triggers. So I think they're listening to people. They're trying to make better and better triggers with crisper brakes and all that stuff, lighter pulls, just like many other companies are doing. The M&P 2.0, same thing. They have put a better trigger in it. People are demanding these better triggers. Otherwise, they just go straight to Apex and things like that. However, when you put better and better triggers in the guns, what are we really getting? I think we're taking away some safety. Let's get into this. So here's the Smith & Wesson M&P 40 Shield 1.0, and what I'm going to show you here is my normal staging process and what I feel is a good trigger. So you have this, as I said, this hinged safety here. So as you get a good grip onto the firearm, so you get a good master grip, as we call it, Your finger starts coming to the trigger guard, you start your wrap around, you take up that slack. There is a little bit of a grind and some slop in this trigger, but you get to the wall and then slow press through, and then it will go through. A lot of people don't like these triggers, they upgrade them, but the point is that it has a, you know, a fairly easy take up, but a definite wall and then a definite push to get through. One other thing is if you do come into it a little funny, like towards the side here, and let's say you start pushing over to the side, it doesn't matter. As long as you break that hinge action, it will go off. That's important for what we're about to show you. Now what we have here is the M&P Shield Plus, the new one. So without a round in the chamber, we're going to mess around with this trigger. And the first thing you're going to notice is that the trigger is definitely different because we have a blade safety now. We don't have a hinge safety at the bottom. So now when my finger comes into the trigger guard, I learned this the other day just practicing on the range. So when my finger comes into the trigger guard, the first thing it does is it wants to push the gun over because I have to clear a little bit more of this trigger. I'm going to actually show that to you. I'm going to lay them on top of each other. But when I come into the trigger here, I start to push over and it actually kind of pins. There's something up here in this mechanism or the blade safety that starts to pin and it binds. It's actually bound right now and I'm starting to put pretty good pressure. Those of you that understand this can see that my finger starts to turn white. So I'm putting pressure. You can see me binding it right there. It'll go every now and then, but I got this thing to bind pretty hard. It is bound really good right now. I finally can loosen up on a little bit and get it to go. That's the first problem. The second problem is that once you do get through this initial take up and you get to a wall, there is some tiny little bit of push, but for the most part, it's not much. It goes off quickly. So when we're out there doing drills and we stage and someone says threat or up, whatever they scream, beep. So let's just say threat, and you pull out your gun, you get on the, see how I just did that? That was way too easy. I couldn't even stage that. I didn't make that up. That just happened. And that's what happened the first time I ever shot this gun. You go to stage and then boom, just a little bit too much. So we did that with live fire one time and we hit the target, thank God, and all that, everything went good. So between pinning and between trying to stage and then rolling through too quick, these are two problems. Now let's do it with real ammunition. And here's one more angle camera guy wants to get about us pinning the trigger. So you can see how I'm kind of pushing the trigger over a little bit mechanically. You can maybe see it against the trigger guard here. I am putting pressure, but could you imagine under stress, you get a pressure? Now that time it went off, but if you do it just right, you'll get it to pin. So right there, it is pinned. Try it with your own guns, I promise you guys. So here's the M&P 40 metal. I forgot to show you that. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna push over and I'm gonna try to pin it. And it's not gonna happen because what's not happening, as long as you get that blade safety down, it won't happen. All right, I'm holding the gun weird because I still want to control it as I hit the backstop, but I want to show you this. So you get that take up, and I'm gonna show you exactly where the wall is. So the wall is there. That's the very first touch of the wall. That was not a whole lot to make that gun go off. Now the reset, you get a click right there. That could be the reset. And if you're at the wall, that is not a lot. So what I'm talking about with staging is when someone says up and you draw your gun up and then see right there, boom, you can't even stage it. It's just, there you go. I got it staged that time. I'm going very light, but there you go. Any more pressure and it's going to go off. All right, so I just got an up command. I just drew my pistol. My finger comes into the trigger guard and for some reason I'm really stressed out and I'm pushing over and it's making that thing go to the side and I'm trying to pull back, but it's pinned. I eventually can probably get it to roll over. Not right now. I would have to do something different. It is locked right now. You can probably see my finger getting whiter and whiter. Now I finally got it to go off, but that's not ideal. Normally you would want to be able to, like we just did, stage and very easily go off. Not stage, pin, and then be stuck and have to roll over that. Now anybody that actually uses their firearms and trains with their pistols, they know what I'm talking about if you shoot semi-automatics. If you shoot revolvers, totally different story. It's kind of one of the reasons I like revolvers sometimes. It is a very definite, deliberate trigger you have to get through in double action mode. But putting all that aside, if you use your guns, if you practice with them, you know that weird things happen and you know that you come up with these weird scenarios. I've shot M&Ps so long, so many different times with a few different triggers, but I'm talking different calibers, different configurations. M&P is my jam as far as semi-automatic. I'm not a Glock person or anything else. It's M&Ps. I know them well, and I know that this one surprised the crap out of me on the range when it came to popping steel when I didn't expect to. And no, it's not an inexperienced thing or anything like that. I'm telling you, I know these guns. Is the trigger too good for me? Maybe someone can say that, but I don't think so because I shoot 1911s all the darn time. And again, if you know what you're talking about with shooting and you know 1911s, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This isn't supposed to be a 1911 trigger. These are supposed to be for safety for concealed carry. Now, this one has an actual safety on it, so at least you have that much going for you as far as safety when you carry it. Some people carry these concealed carry in the crotch, though. And if you actually pull that out of your appendix carry and for some reason you start staging your trigger in a vehicle or whatever, you could pop yourself right in the leg. Weird things happen under stress, and that's what I'm talking about. Is this the right trigger for a defensive type of gun? And I'm not saying Smith & Wesson did anything wrong here at all. I'm not saying the trigger is dangerous in any way, shape, or form, really. I'm saying if you're not that great of a user of these type of triggers, if you don't know your firearms, this trigger might not be right for you. This is a user thing. Users ask for better and better triggers, but is that really what everybody needs or wants? Just something to think about. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope to see you at the next one. And until then, stay safe, have fun, and keep shooting.